Okay, now that we've learned how to do statistics all by hand, we'll probably never do that again because there has been an invention called spreadsheets. Excel or Google does a really nice job with this, and they can basically figure everything out for us on our own. So after you have got done passing the wooden blocks around from person to person and recording their width in millimeters, you should have them in a column like this, and then we can just have like numbers 1 through 27 for the old puzzle cube project that you did in the middle school probably. Want to make sure we have these measured in millimeters. If you're typing these in, by the way, and you type like this one in 19.2, something like this, it might not actually put the 0 on the end. So what you can do is highlight all these, and up here are some little decimal buttons. If I go this way, I'm doing less decimal buttons. If you go this way, you could do more, and then you can have them all right justified, and the zeros can be in there for you. So you might want to try that. Okay, there's several things that we're going to let Google Sheets calculate for us. We're going to do the mean. We'll do the mode. We'll do the median. We'll do standard deviation. That's really good because you know how much of a pain that was to figure out. The minimum value in our list, the maximum value in our list, the range, which we'll actually have to figure out. There's no formula in Google Sheets for that, but that's easy. We want to figure out the mean plus 2 sigma, or 2 standard deviations. So if you remember, for the empirical rule, 95% of all of our data should be within like 2 standard deviations above and below the mean. So we want to figure out what that kind of range is. So we're going to do the mean plus 2 standard deviations, and we're going to do the mean minus 2 standard deviations to figure out that particular 95% of the things. We're going to end up not wanting to use some of the puzzle cubes that are outside of this because they're maybe too big or too small, and our puzzle cube will fit together if we can make sure that everything fits within those particular things. I'm also going to do an interval, which we'll use later to figure out what our bins are going to be, so when we do our histogram. Okay, so how do we do these things? Well, we write formulas, and formulas in Google or Excel start with an equal sign, and then you can start typing in mean, but there is no mean, so another word for that is average. Start typing in average, and we got it right here, average, and it's going to do a parenthesis, and then you have to put all the values in that you want to average. What we can do instead is just come over here and highlight the whole column, close parenthesis, return, and there's our average. Very easy, calculated, 19.07. Mode equals, let's try mode. There it is, mode, and again we'll highlight everything, close parentheses, and we have the mode, which is the one that's the most in here. You could have more than one that's the most or equal to, like bimodal or multimodal. There is a way to kind of do that. It's a little more complicated. We're not going to worry about it right now. So you just do mode and you can highlight those. Median equals median. There it is. And we highlight these and find out which one is actually in the middle. So I don't even have to organize them by order. Median will do that all for me. Nice. And the median happened to be the same as the mode here. Interesting. Standard deviation equals ST, and then we see there's different ones here. This is population. This is the standard deviation of a sample. That's what we want. So we're going to click that, and we're going to highlight all these. Close parentheses. Whoops, close parentheses. There's our standard deviation. Our minimum equals minimum of all these is, what is it? 18.92. Maximum equals max. There's max function. What's the max of all these? Don't you love spreadsheets? I mean, this is like, you don't have to do any work anymore. It's amazing. Range, what's the range from the minimum to the maximum? Well, spreadsheets don't do that because they know you can calculate it. Here's the minimum, here's the maximum. So I can do a formula, I can do equals, and then I can click on the maximum and then do minus and then click on the minimum, hit return, and there will be my range. So I just subtracted those two. You could just subtract them and put the number in here, but Excel, Google does it for you. Mean plus 2 standard deviations. So I want to take this mean and I want to add on 2 times this standard deviation to get that maximum upper limit. So I can do an equation equals, I'll click on the mean, plus 2. How do I do a times sign? A times sign is an asterisk above the 8. 2 times standard deviation, return. There's the upper limit. And then again, equals, do the mean, this time minus 2 times, asterisk, the standard deviation, equals, and there's my lower limit for the 95%. Lower and upper limit. Okay, interval. I want an interval here. Actually, I want to use this later to figure, just to be able to put in to figure out kind of what my bin or my class width is going to be for my bin size. And the way I want to do the interval is I want to take the range from the minimum to the maximum. Those are all the cubes, and I want to divide it. I want to divide it by 10, so I kind of have 10 intervals or 10 class bins. So I'm just going to do equals, do the range, divide by 10. So I'm going to use this as kind of my bin length or my class width later on. Okay, one thing I want to do right here, which would be interesting, is I want to find right now which one of these things are outside of, are the outliers that are outside of the mean plus or minus 2 standard deviations. So ones that are outside of these two things. So there's a way I can actually do that with formatting. So I'm going to highlight all of these. I'm going to go up to Format, Conditional Formatting. Watch this. This is amazing. And then, so it's applying to the range B3 through B29, which is the range I just highlighted. Format cells if, and there's a lot of things I can choose, but I'm going to come down here, I'm going to choose is not between. Is not between. So I can format any cells that are not between, like these two numbers here. So it'll highlight anything that's outlying. So I'm going to say is not between, and then value or a formula. Okay, so I'm just going to type this in here. The value, the lower one is 18.89. See, that's my lower limit. And between 19.26, that's my upper limit. And notice it highlights two cells. Now I'm going to highlight them like in yellow because that's cooler, I think. Actually, I'll bold them too, maybe. And I'll click done. So now I have a rule on here, and so these two are outliers. And what we'd want to do maybe is replace those two cubes, cube 8 and 16, with something that's within these two ranges, so our puzzle cube might fit together better or something. We might say that these are too far out of normal to be able to use in our product. Okay, so good. Last thing I want to do is I want to make a histogram. And this is way easier in Google than it is in Excel. So I'm going to highlight these things. I'm going to do insert a chart. It always defaults at the wrong chart. We don't want a column chart. It looks like that we kind of do, but it's not right. We want to come down to this under other, and you'll see this one is called a histogram. I'm going to click that. And then I'm going to go over to customize, and I'm going to click on the histogram tab. And this is where I can put in bucket sizes. And the bucket size that I'm going to use, I'm going to have to close that so get this out of the way here. Okay, so if I close that up, by the way, to get back into it, you click these three buttons and you edit chart. Customize, and I'm going to go to histogram, and in the bucket size, I'm going to put this interval right here. So I'm going to go like this, and I'm going to do 0.0381. and hit return, and see there it put a histogram. Now it's putting way too much stuff on the outside here. I want to spread this out a little bit. So I'm going to come down the horizontal axis, and I can do a min value and a maximum value. Now my min value is 18.92, so I want to make sure that's included in there, so I'm going to go a little less than that. I'm going to do like 18.9. And for the max value, I'm at 19.3, so I'm going to go like 19.32, something like that. Okay, and so now I got it kind of nice and spread out. So what if I did 19.3? Yeah, I better do 19.31. Yeah, I better put that in there so it keeps it in there. Allow bounds to hide the data. I'm not going to have that unchecked, but it doesn't really matter. Okay, while I'm here on the horizontal axis, well, I guess there's nothing else I need to do there. Okay, so I'm going to come up, to clean this up, I'm going to do legend. I'm going to say I don't want a legend. I'm going to come back up to chart style. You can do a background color if you like. I'm going to go, let's see, chart titles and axis. That's where I want to be here. So chart title, I'm going to do wooden cube histogram. Good. Horizontal axis title is just frequency. No, it's not. Horizontal is width in millimeters. Vertical axis is frequency. Yeah, it's looking good. I guess one more thing. Go back up to histogram tab, and yeah, right here, show item dividers. So it divides that up, and you can see your 27 cubes, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, all of them. Okay. You'll notice that we have a good, pretty good normal distribution right here. There's these two weird ones out here, but see, those are 19 point, that's cube 8 and cube 16. So these are outliers here. They might be a little bit too big for our puzzle cube. So we would take those out and replace them with something maybe close here to the mean. Say, what's the mean? The mean's 19.07, so what I could write in here is like the mean, which is good. So there's a nice kind of normal distribution. And so there's my wooden cube histogram chart. And that does everything for us. So hopefully you can follow through with that and see how we can do some nice statistics in a spreadsheet to communicate to other people some things about our engineering projects and some quality control.